Folks, this week's episode, big announcement, is brought to you by TiVo. That's right, TiVo. Neal, you remember TiVo?
Shiv, do I?
Hey, y'all remember TiVo? Before they invented TiVo, you couldn't watch TV. If you were gone, dude, you were gone. Unless you had a big, bulky VHS situation, you were fucked, man. You couldn't see
Well, no, I mean, yeah, TiVo revolutionized, literally one of the best inventions of my lifetime. And now they've stepped their game up because you can, if you have a TiVo, one of the great things about TiVo is showing you other shows that you would want to watch, which most DVRs don't have, and they'll automatically record it for you if you want.
Right, and not only that, they got this new situation where if you've got cable, and this beats the hell out of your DVR, because if you have cable, you don't just have to go home and watch that shit in your pathetic-ass apartment. You can transfer this to your iPad, bring it to your girl's house, watch it while you're taxing that ass. You can bring the recordings anywhere with you and watch them anywhere.
You like to bang and watch Grey's Anatomy. Do you not, listener? Yeah, so you can do that. You can watch your shows from wherever you want, whenever you want, instead of having to I got it downstairs, we got to go. Like, you watch it anywhere.
You want to watch Game of Thrones inside of an actual throne?
Which I actually would. I want this.
I want it too.
I want this.
You can watch it on an airplane. You can watch it waiting in line, at the dentist's office, whatever. Also, you can it searches cable and the web to find any movie that you want, any show, and it'll search for it. And it's got Netflix, Hulu Plus, Amazon, YouTube, all in one. This shit is actually good. I mean, I am being a corporate shill right now, but I kind of believe in it.
Yeah.
And there's a new thing too called the TiVo Mini, which is one TiVo box will work on a second TV. So from the couch to the kitchen, from the minivan to 35,000 feet. I guess that's an airplane thing. I didn't write that last part. TiVo makes TV.
It's pretty obvious when you didn't write, when you are reading and when you're saying.
Well, do you think this is natural or not? TiVo makes TV about 1,000 times better.
Okay, and here's the promo code. Fuck with these people.
Fuck with it.
You're gonna go to TiVo.com, TiVo.com. And you can get $25 off a new TiVo Premiere
P4
or XL4 DVR if you use the promo code ATC.
For all things comedy.
ATC.
The code is set to expire on 11/1/2013. So
you'll probably be dead by then. That's in November.
If you watch as much TV as you're about to watch when you get this TiVo, you'll definitely be dead by next year. And that is a message from our sponsors.
ATC. TiVo.com. Fuck with it.
Hey, it's Moshe Kasher. I'm going to be at the Chicago Just for Laughs Festival. And I'll also be in Ottawa at the end of the month on the 27th and 28th at their big improvaganza up there. I'll be the special stand-up guest, so come fuck with me. And there'll be a lot of other fun stuff. And then, hey, Jay, you've got some dates you want to promote, right?
I do. This is Jay Chandrasekhar. I'm going to be down at Sons of Herman Hall in Dallas, Texas on June 25th. The Scottish Rite Theater in Austin, Texas on June 26th. Fitzgerald's in Houston on the 27th. Then I'm off to Florida to the Back Booth in Orlando. On the 29th, I'm at the Crowbar in Tampa. And the 30th, I end up in Gainesville at the High Dive.
Yeah.
All the good dates, baby.
When do you think you're going to kill yourself?
Well, let's figure it out. We'll find out very soon.
I'll do it after High Dive.
Sounds like a good plan. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to fuck with the champs.
Now you're fucking with the champs.
Hello, everyone. You're back fucking with the champs one more time. We are live, or not live, because you're probably listening to this after we recorded it, but we recorded it live. I promise. It's your favorite podcast duo, Neal Brennan and Moshe Kasher. How are you, Neal?
Good, Moshe. Used to be a trio, lost Doug. People are still mad about it.
People
act like we made him leave, which did not happen.
I saw Doug at a show last night. We gave each other big hugs. We're all friends. Yo, whoever's sending somebody sent a very vitriolic email to us, threatening us, telling us that he had inside information that Doug would come back on the podcast for a sizable payout. We looked into it.
Yeah, just like one of those, like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I happen to have whenever someone says I happen to have information, they don't.
Well, we looked into it, and Doug would not come back to the podcast for any. We offered him $250,000 cash in a briefcase. Doug wasn't interested, but I will say
I'll replace him if that's
Jay's
offer his standing. I mean,
I will say this. Final word about Doug. He's got a new web series on the Jash Network. It's called Doug's Pound House. It's very funny, very Lynchian. Him and Brent Weinbach made it together. It's hilarious. So go fuck with that. You're fucking with the champs. And our guest today, very excited. We're very happy to have him on.
Not black
But
per
close.
se.
But very...
We only have
very,
black guests on. I know
is that right?
You just bridled a little bit when I said
darker-
not black. Or we mostly have black guests.
My cock is black.
Is that right?
I bet
well,
it
I would
is.
assume that you now. If this will get us off to a classic champs conversation. I've heard that with dark-skinned people, your cock is darker than the rest of you.
Is that true with everyone?
I've heard that about black dudes.
Well, that's a good point. It is true about everyone, but it's certainly true about. I can only vouch for Indians.
How many Indian dicks have you seen?
I mean, I've seen a couple. I've certainly seen my father's.
Oh, yeah, me too. Father's got a famous
But
dick.
it had an exoskin, so you can't really.
I like how you said certainly. Well, I've certainly seen my
I
father.
also like how you said exoskin.
Yeah,
I
what does that
what
mean?
the
Like a foreskin?
I
The
believe.
slither, yeah.
Is your father a lizard?
Only the director of Super Troopers would describe it as an exoskin.
And it's even darker than the under penis.
But listen, the underpenis and the exoskin, before we get into that, which is classics champs fair, why don't we just introduce you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
This guy's a wonderful director from the Super Troopers to
Beerfest.
I Love You Man, right? I mean,
I was in I Love
He
You
did
Man,
not
yeah.
direct it.
oh.
You were also in. Did you not? You thought we had the wrong director?
Yeah, actually, could we just press pause and we'll go get another guy? Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
He did a shitty IMDb of you and just like, I love you, man. You directed Jackass 2 apparently.
That's
as well?
right. That's right.
Didn't direct it.
Jay
Chandrasekhar,
ladies and
everybody.
gentlemen.
Jay Chandrasekhar.
Chan.
I was getting ready to mock you for not being able to pronounce his name, and then I dissed myself by fucking it up.
You played
in India, the name is pronounced Chandrasekhar.
Is that true?
Yeah,
Chandrasekhar.
Chandrasekhar.
How do you
And why
have you
did
been
you
there?
decide to go with Chandrasekhar? To make it easy?
Well, you seem like a dick if you walk around all day saying it's Chandrasekhar. You know, when you
Were people pronouncing it correctly in the first place?
Oh, but
No.
Chandrasekhar on the other hand is much more user friendly.
It's sort of an everyday thing, the mispronunciation of the name, and that's okay. It's kind of part of me.
Did you ever think about changing it?
I did. I did.
What were you going with?
Well, when I first did stand up, when
Roddy
I was
Chandrasekhar?
19, Roddy Chandrasekhar. Yeah, I went up in Chicago as Jake Chandler,
Oh, sure. Sure.
and
There's nothing funnier than people's early stand-up names.
yeah, and then I changed it to Jay Chandras, and I had headshots to prove that, but that was just I just sort of figured if Schwarzenegger could do it. I have the same number of letters, so
Yeah.
what the hell?
Now, Jay, you were talking about the exoskin and the underpenis earlier,
yeah.
and I don't want to have our train of thought be derailed here. Please tell us more about your father's underpenis.
Well, I mean, look, as a young man, there's a point where your parents stop showering with you, right? I mean, that's like 7, 8, 9, whatever.
Actually,
Everyone has a different opinion of that.
Did you
I
grow
would
up in the States?
I grew up in Chicago.
I would say
Okay,
that there's
so
a
the
point
States.
where your parents don't shower with you at all, which would be the point of my life. I didn't shower with my father.
Never? You just don't remember.
I never showered with my father.
In your entire life?
I do have an odd memory.
I remember him like we'd piss next to each other.
I
remember
used
that.
to piss on my dad's
that's a good
face.
time to see the under penis.
I have a strange memory. Do you ever have these memories where you don't know if they're real or not?
Sure.
I have a memory of being in a hot tub with my father and diving beneath the surface of the blue and grabbing his dick, and then I don't know if this is a bad memory or not, because I don't feel like it's a real memory, but I don't know. Grabbing my father's penis, and then he kind of swam away as I was like led by the penis.
And then Pink Floyd played.
I don't know, man. I mean, that seems fake. Right?
That seems pretty fake.
Let's
I
hope
hope
so.
it's fake.
Let's
Yeah,
hope
exactly.
So, yeah.
I mean, how far could he swim away as you were holding on to his
like
penis?
kind of like
I like the metaphor of it.
What
Look,
do you think? What do you think it means?
Was it a
just means that your
backstroke,
father that you look up to him and that you're looking for his leadership.
Or it's a metaphor for the fact that my father molested me.
Did
One of
I
the
ever
two.
tell you the story of the Boy Scout trip I went on? This is okay. I went on. Has nothing to do with you, Jay. Go on a Boy Scout trip in 3rd grade, maybe, and we all had like our own. There was one chaperone, maybe 2 chaperone adult males, and then 14 third graders. I woke up with like the next morning after the night. I slept in a tent by myself. Woke up the next morning, and there was like some goo on my sleeping bag. Okay. And I promise you, it was 15 or 20 years before I was like, wait a minute, that was jizz.
Whose jizz?
Not mine. I was pre-sexual.
Right.
And
somebody
then
came in, stood over your sleeping bag, jerked off, and then walked away.
Yes.
Definitely not a wet dream.
No, because I was pre-sexual. It was years before I did.
So there was a Boy Scout troop leader that came in and stood over your sleeping
ostensibly,
bag.
or an animal,
like the Eiffel Tower,
or I'm totally remembering it wrong.
Right.
But I remember there being, and it's like, I don't feel traumatized by it.
Because you could hardly remember what happened.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, nothing happened to my butt or my, like, I would have woken up.
I mean, but that would be definitely in the category of molestation. I mean, particularly if it was an older person.
He was definitely an adult, if it's who I think it was.
His semen shouldn't be on your garments.
I agree, but I don't feel...
I think we all agree. You should not ejaculate on third graders.
I agree.
No, I have a similar story. It's not the same fluid, but I was I went to prep school in outside Chicago, and
where?
Lake Forest.
Sure,
Lake Forest Academy.
Yeah,
and
riveting radio stuff.
I had well, it's ironic, right? I mean, I ended up having a roommate from Japan, and I was in a dorm with this kid, and the kid didn't speak any English, and to be honest, I was a little bit pissed off that I was with this Japanese kid. And I admit, I was being a little racist, right? I didn't want him as a roommate.
You didn't want to be known, you didn't want to be in like the brown room.
Well, I was happening to be in this dorm with 12 other kids, which was kind of the minority dorm. And I'm like, you know what, motherfucker, I grew up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And he couldn't speak English? I mean,
couldn't speak a word of English. Very nice guy. And then he got a boil on his cheek, which, just
typical Japanese.
There's no reason to be angry at him for that, but I was a little bit.
Sure.
So I came home to my room one day, and the door is locked. There's a towel underneath, and there are 3 guys getting high in the room. And at the time, I don't smoke pot, right? And so I end up telling on them.
Oh,
right? I was the narc, right?
Snitching, Jay.
Well, 3 of them get kicked out of school, like out of school. Terrible. I become obviously this big pot smoker, and
Did you feel bad immediately when they got kicked out, or were you like,
what? That was my goal.
You shouldn't do that.
It was my goal.
You were like, I don't care really about pot.
Oh, you actually did it. This was a hit job.
It was a hit job, but I was like, people shouldn't smoke pot, right? And sure enough, sophomore year, I started smoking pot, and I became, a cokehead, and I did all sorts of fucking shit. And I'll get back to the fluid story in a second. So I end up running into this kid. His name's Shingo on a train 3 years later.
Oh, Shingo with the boil.
Yeah, Shingo with the boil. Mm-hmm. And I'm on this train.
You saw him on the Orient Express.
Right. I'm going out of the western suburbs, the Orient Express, and I'm on my way, and I'm sitting in the car, and I stand up, and I see him walking down the other way, coming right at me. It's just me and him on this fucking train.
Shingo!
And everyone said this guy's like a karate expert and all this shit.
They all are.
Of course, right? So, and I'm like, now at this point, I'm like holding cocaine in my pocket. I smoke pot all the time. I'm just a little scumbag, right? So
sure, you're the Indian Shingo at this point.
And so I say to him, dude, I am so sorry. And he goes, no, I so sorry. He barely speaks any English.
I've been in America over 20 years. I learn no English.
Yeah, he gets down on his knees on the train and is bowing to me. He'd been put into military school. Anyway, that's what I did to get what happened to me happen. So one night, my freshman year, after these guys get kicked out, I wake up and I'm covered in vomit.
Whoa.
Right? I'm like, it's all over me. It's just, and I'm like, right? And I come crashing out my door and I vomit into a garbage can, right? And there are all these guys.
You had the sense that it's the thing of like, if you get vomit, is an emetic and it'll make you.
It'll
instantly make you throw up.
And then I look down the hall and all these guys are standing there laughing, and I realize that it's gel toothpaste, right? And they just sort of dumped a thing of gel toothpaste on me, which I deserved, by the way.
Hold on, do you believe that
one tube of gel toothpaste
or whatever? I mean,
do you believe that vomit smells like fresh mint? Is that a thing?
I do now.
Right.
Because since then, I cannot use gel toothpaste. It's disgusting to me. It's
Do you
like vomit.
brush your teeth with vomit?
That's
now?
really
the mental
interesting.
association is like...
So you immediately woke up. It was you were smelling mint.
And you're like, that
But
must be
you're like,
vomit.
I've been puked upon.
It was the texture that must have let... I mean, I just the texture...
But wouldn't the texture just be like
Let me
a thin strip?
Let me see if I can
There was a
clarify
lot
here.
of-
Your father
got a
has
lot
an
of it.
exo skin and an underpenis, and
Correct.
you believe that the texture of vomit is gelatinous. Are you a human being, or are you in fact an alien?
I mean, I'm telling you.
I mean,
I don't know what to say. It's just,
Yeah.
luckily it wasn't semen.
yeah, that's and did they apologize?
They were laughing because the narc was getting what he deserved.
Right.
Right.
How long after this happened?
This was a couple months.
Also,
Okay.
can you imagine their reaction? Imagine you're like a troublemaker, and you go in and you put gel toothpaste all over your enemy, and then he gets up and vomits.
That's a perfect. That's how Bin Laden. That's
Why
how
is he
Bin Laden
reacting
must
that
have felt on 9/11. Like this went way better than I could have expected.
Exactly right.
exactly.
I just thought we were
exactly
going to
right.
fuck up like the middle of the building. I didn't think we were
That
going to
shit fell
ruin.
down.
Yeah, like that's a perfect hit.
I
Yeah.
think we can all say that 9/11, the Twin Towers falling down, is the vomiting in the garbage can of 9/11.
Well put.
Thank you.
I mean, you didn't. He put it that way.
Well,
but
we
right.
kind of came to a conclusion.
Now, Jay, you did stand up in Chicago. I'm taking it as Jay Chandras, and then when did you get into Hollywood? When did you get into filmmaking? Are you an actor?
Yeah.
Like, do you consider yourself an actor, or is it just one of those things like, oh yeah, I'll act?
No, I mean, I was in a lot of plays in high school. I've been in a lot of musicals.
Sure.
I've been in a lot of plays in college. I was an actor first.
Got it.
So what happened was I decided to try stand up and see if I could make people laugh.
Do you remember your first joke?
I did some jokes about certain ethnicity drove cars that were predictable. It was and it got laughs, but it was really pretty pedestrian.
Sure. It wasn't pedestrian, technically, if it's about driving.
True.
Go ahead.
It was
Thank
very
you.
well put. So, but I did get laughs, and so I went back to Colgate University where I went to school.
Colgate University?
Yeah,
Where you
that's
were
right.
covered in gel
Yeah.
toothpaste?
Yeah.
Yes, but the paste is good. The pen, not
Right,
the gel.
right.
You did
So-
grad work at Crest, correct?
Yes,
Go
right.
ahead.
But the paste the paste. So I had while I was in Chicago for 9 months, I studied at the Improv Olympic, and Chris Farley was sort of at the top of the ladder in town at the time, and Dave Keckner and some guys like that. And so I went back to Colgate and I said, I'm going to start a comedy group. And so I called up all the funniest guys I knew, and all the guys who are in Broken Lizard now were there.
Did they all go to Colgate?
Yeah. And so we put on we wrote a show that was like half sketch and a couple of short films, and I just sort of directed them, not knowing what I was doing,
Right.
and they were really pretty, simple. But it became a big hit at Colgate, and so
Right.
we moved to New York City and we started making, doing more shows, and then MTV came and said, we're going to give somebody one of these groups, either you or the state, we're going to give you a TV show. And so
What a horrible thing, that typically television thing to do.
well, so we killed.
This is 93.
This was right around there.
Yeah, because I remember when I went to NYU when the state was there.
Oh, yeah, okay. So we murdered. I mean, we fucking killed that night. And the next night they went, and they must have just
Double
killed even
murdered.
better because they got the fucking show. And so we said, well, we've always loved Monty Python. Let's go try to make, in the 90s in New York, there were a lot of people like Kevin Smith and Ed Burns and Linklater. They were making movies for whatever they could get. And so we said, let's go try to be the filmmaking group and do what Python did. And so we made a film for about $220,000 and got into Sundance and sold it. And then the next film we made for $1.2 million, Super Troopers. And then that
What was the first one?
It's called Puddle Cruiser.
Okay.
That was $1 million too, Super Troopers?
Yeah.
That feels crazy to me. I mean, it was like kind of a high-tech movie.
Well,
You don't need that much money to make a good-looking movie.
Well, it's
And
really
particularly if the actors are all cheap and the director's cheap.
I mean,
It's like-
the issue is like choice of shots, right? I mean, I'd become I'd become an editor because I couldn't really afford to hire an editor. So I would shoot stuff, and I'd get in the edit room, and I'm like, oh, God, I could really use that shot.
Yeah.
And it would burn into my brain that I missed that fucking shot. And so when you make a movie, then you just shoot the shots that you need. I mean, it sounds really simple, right? But it's like...
No, but that's whenever writers, and I don't know if I've said this on the show, whenever writers that are going to become directors, they'll come to me and be like, dude, is it hard? And I'll go like, not compared to writing, it's not.
No.
It's fucking... Writing's the hardest thing in the world, and then directing is just like... It's the difference between building a house, being a builder and an architect. It's like, builder, as a director, you're basically a builder. You're a stylized builder, but it's you get the part and then you put it together, whereas writing is just from nothing.
Did anything crazy ever happen on some of those early shoots?
Luckily, no. I mean, ultimately, if you get bad luck with weather, it can tank a movie of that budget.
What's the worst story, the most fucked up story from your filmmaking career?
The most fucked up story?
The most fucked up thing that happened?
Well, you don't seem like a hound. Like you don't seem like you seem like you just were.
You mean a pussy hound?
Yeah, like a pussy hound or like
that's what you meant?
Yeah, in that case. I mean, I'm just thinking about like being a director in a movie.
No,
most movie directing is just hard work.
I think that ultimately all of that stuff, all like the women and all that stuff, it's there for the taking, right? If you want it. And I'm not saying I certainly want it, right? I always wanted it.
Yeah, you're trying to get your exo penis wet,
right? I mean, it's got a drink, but the
Wait, your penis drinks?
Yeah, my penis got a drink.
It's got a proboscis.
You're blowing this. If you really are an alien, you're blowing. You're blowing.
Right.
I mean, we all of our penises need a drink, right, guys?
Yeah.
Meepsorp.
Yeah. So no, but I mean, the situations people get into are when they have sex with people that they work with.
Yeah.
And you get lawsuits and all that crap, but you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
The
best story ever is it's the best story ever. Warren Beatty said he goes the problem isn't you can sleep with your leading lady. That's not the problem. The problem is you just can't stop sleeping with her.
That's
it's
right.
like because that's where problems come up. Because if you stop in the middle of the shoot, she'll be fucking mad the rest of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you seem like a responsible guy. I'm sure your penis needs to drink, etc.
Well, I hate to think that you look at me and say you're not like a hound. Everybody wants to appear to be a hound.
Well, you seem like a dude.
No, I think people don't want to appear to be a hound. I think you want to be a hound, but quietly.
You seem like a dude that can't get pussy.
It's felt like that. It felt like that.
No, I meant like you're not in it for the wrong reasons. You don't seem like a dude.
You'd be incapable of accessing that.
Yeah, even if you want it, it's good that you're not into it because you have no chance.
You have no possibility. There's no way you could ever get laid.
Right.
You're a virgin.
Exactly.
And how did you find so you do Super Troopers and that was like a kind of a slow build, right?
Well, it sold at Sundance and it was, it was sudden. Like suddenly we were really accepted, and then it came out. And it made about 20.
Right.
And
what year was that?
It was 2001, and then the video made about 90.
Can you explain the video, the popularity of the video? I mean, I guess it's always hard to explain that shit.
But it's the DVD.
Yeah, I can actually, because at the time.
It was because you were selling a lot of DVDs when Chappelle Show was selling a lot of DVDs, and I would look on the chart, and you guys were selling so many DVDs every fucking week. It was crazy. It had been out for years, and you were selling like 15,000 copies a week.
Well, it was a time in the business when the industry had convinced people that it needed to buy DVDs.
Yeah,
and everybody bought it, and they were buying they bought Chappelle Show, they bought art. I mean, it was an amazing moment, and that's not really the case anymore. People rent and they do all sorts of stuff.
Now it's hilarious that they were able to convince the consumers they needed to buy DVDs literally right before DVDs became completely obsolete.
Literally, when people give me DVDs, I'm like, no, get that shit. Get that shit away from me. You think I want to have a thing and stick it in a slot and all that shit? Are you out of your mind?
Right. I mean, that DVD kind of... I always think that because we're truly friends, the guys in Broken Lizard, and our jokes are truly, developed and created from hanging around and being together all the time. I think that other friend groups sort of see us as like them. I think they recognize that, and I think these things are getting passed down to their younger sisters and brothers and up to their fathers, and
Right.
who knows why it happened.
But it's also a great movie. It is. I mean,
okay, sure, thank you.
do you not think so?
I do. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I mean, it's.
You don't watch your stuff a lot?
No,
I'm the dick is. I'm watching it. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, come on in.
Look, I haven't seen it for a long time, but I remember being young and being really taken with it. And also, it was I was just looking at some list of. I mean, it's like on lists. All these as one of the top comedies of the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean it. There was a Huffington Post thing at the end of the decade, and it was the #1 film of the
Must have
decade.
been what I saw. Yeah.
You saw it 10 years ago?
No, that list.
The list that
It was some Huffington. It's on these. It's on these lists. I agree. It's a good movie. I love it.
Yeah, good.
But we also had a great bit of timing.
Right.
I think it's harder to make it nowadays. I think the same group making the same movie, maybe it would get out in the same way, but we're so fractured in terms of what we listen to. I mean, the amount of time it takes to listen to this podcast and Marin's podcast and all these other podcasts, you're like, well, where's the time to watch the movies? I mean, additionally...
Video games?
Yeah, video games. And people used to walk into, say, a fraternity house or walk into their friend's room, and they'd have Super Troopers and the Chappelle Show and a couple other things. They're like, let's watch that.
Well, the thing that I always noticed I felt like, and again, forgive me if I mentioned this on the show before, that there was a thing about DVDs that it was like what books were in the 70s, where you would go here's who I am.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if you bought Super Troopers DVD, it meant you smoke weed, and you were a party person, and you like to fuck around, you like groups of people, whatever. And if you like Chappelle Show, it was because it meant you liked underground hip hop, and you liked racial comedy, and you were cool with black people,
right?
And it got you got to check a bunch of boxes.
I love that the dichotomy though with you two guys is so you walk into a room, it'll be Chappelle Show,
and that's it.
I mean, those are sort of
the only two.
What else is
at
there?
this point. I think that's it.
Well, I mean, look, we
No, you're right. They also have baked with you.
Or
Thank
maybe
you for
an
pointing
early
that out.
Moshe Kasher DVD that had been transferred from VHS.
I doubt
to
that.
DVD.
Not in any room I've been in, but maybe.
Maybe they
We're
took
not
VHS,
your
they
room.
burned a DVD and they wrote
No.
seems unlikely. It seems
I guess you're
unlikely.
right.
Sorry,
It
man.
seems
I mean,
totally unlikely.
we had in my room in college, I had Fletch, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and a DVD of this Errol Morris documentary called Vernon, Florida.
Sure.
And that's what we watched.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
So
because
you guys
they were
would
there.
watch Vernon, Florida over and over and over?
I've seen it 100 times.
Do you now look back on that as weird?
I love that movie.
No.
Yeah, well, it's weird in the sense. It's weird in the sense that.
But just weird that a bunch of college kids were watching a weird
somebody
documentary.
left it in my room.
Is that the one about the pet cemetery?
No, it's about these.
Or the Bible salesman?
No, it's not
that's
even.
a different
it's people
movie.
Hold on, let
in,
him answer. He's going to tell you
in
what it's about.
Vernon,
He's seen it 100
Errol
times.
Morris went down there because he heard the people in that town were cutting their digits off to get insurance money. And they said, if you do a documentary about that, we're going to kill you. And he said, okay, well, can I just interview you because you're interesting? And it's just these hilarious people in northern Florida.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
It's fantastic,
I've
but
seen
it
that
happened to be in the room. Somebody left it there, and that was it. That's why we watched it.
What are the movies you have seen the most in your life, Neal?
In my life, Spinal Tap.
That's the best movie ever made.
I would say that's the best mockumentary. It's one of those weird things where the first one was the best one, and people haven't even come close.
Not according to Huffington Post. They would say that it's Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Well, I don't agree. I'm just saying. I'm just saying what the list says.
At all.
Listen, nobody agrees except
The Huffington
Huffington.
Right.
People,
Okay, so-
that website almost got Anonymous hacked it because they were so upset.
Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap. That's as a kid, it was Spinal Tap, Caddyshack, those kind of movies. And then as an adult or a young adult, I watched Platoon
Platoon's a good
endlessly. I watched Wall Street endlessly.
So just you.
I watched Do the Right Thing endlessly. I watched, and then I got into I watched The Limey 1,000 times. I watched Out of Sight 1,000 times.
Oh, what about you, Jay? Those are the movies that you.
And then also Memento.
Did you forget that you'd seen it?
Yeah.
And that's why you started over?
Yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Have you ever heard Brett Ernst calls me Memento because he says I'm doing my career backward?
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like, who starts out as a movie director and show creator then becomes a comedian? Fucking idiot.
I would say my movies are When Harry Met Sally.
Yep, that's on there.
Terrific.
Princess Bride.
Love it.
And Star Wars. I would say those are the movies I've seen the most.
Princess Bride, I haven't seen very much. I've seen it. I think I've seen it probably all the way through once. Star Wars, I haven't. Maybe I've seen it 3 times. Harry Met Sally, I've seen ad nauseum.
Well, that's all. 3 of those are Rob Reiner movies.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Right.
Rob Reiner had directed 5 out of the 6 best movies in a row.
Stand By Me.
He went Spinal Tap, Sure Thing, When Harry Met Sally, I'm forgetting.
Did you get Stand By Me in there?
Stand By Me, Misery. These are in a row.
That's crazy.
And Princess Bride.
And Princess Bride.
That's insane.
In a row. And now he can't get a job.
A Few Good Men.
And A Few Good Men.
He can't get a job?
Not really. He can't get money to shoot a film
That's
for more
insane,
than $15 million bucks.
What do you got, Jay?
Spinal Tap, Fletch, Caddyshack, Animal House, Blues Brothers, Trading Places. My favorite movie, even though I said it was Spinal Tap, is really 48 Hours.
That's a great movie.
I think that's the perfect blend of funny and violent.
Totally agree.
And every bit of it is awesome.
And
I would say My Love Life is the perfect blend of funny and violent.
Love Life?
Folks.
His Love Life.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. 48 Hours, it's also really openly racist.
Is that true?
Yeah, he calls Eddie Watermelon at some point. He goes like, sure thing, water.
All that Jungle Bunny watermelon is just part of the job.
Yeah, just Jungle Bunny and all that shit.
The Warrior.
The Warriors?
Or Warriors?
The Warrior.
On Bach, the Warrior?
No, not Anbach, Thai Warrior. That's a different. He has a darker penis than he does rest of body. This is The Warrior, or maybe just Warrior.
Warrior, the UFC movie?
Tom Hardy, Nick Nolte.
Yeah, I know the guy who wrote it, and I never saw it though.
It is a phenomenal movie, and Nick Nolte is just on some perfection, master level type shit.
Yeah,
that dude's good.
Danny McBride had the best Nick Nolte story, which I guess I'm about to tell.
Do it.
That when they were doing what's the Tropic Thunder, they'd be shooting, and Nick Nolte apparently hates Julia Roberts. They did a movie together called The Front Page, some shit, Nothing But Trouble, one of those movies, and so they'd be shooting, and it would be like raining a little bit, and Nick Nolte would be like, you know who wouldn't be out here shooting in the rain right now? Julia, because Julia's a cunt.
Oh, brother, America's Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
I won't stand for this.
No, I know. Sorry, buddy. Okay, so I guess my question is, for you, how did you manage the dynamic of the group in success and failure and medium and somewhere in between?
I think ultimately there's probably an unfair amount of credit goes to the director.
Yeah,
it's the way life is. But I mean, those movies are, if you like them, you like them because they're written well,
right?
And I know some people don't like them, I get it. But if you do like them, it's because we wrote 20 drafts of each script, and we all really did pour our guts into all that writing. And then I directed, and obviously I think I'm a good director, but the key is you have to try to, what we always sort of said was, if anybody ever asks who wrote that joke, you say, I don't remember. And the goal is to try to keep like a non-ego sort of situation going.
Me and Dave had that same agreement.
Yeah.
Great philosopher Dave Chappelle, which is we just wouldn't give up because people only want to know.
They want to know
so that they can discount you.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah, they just go like, "Who wrote that?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was him,
right.
Or I thought that was you. Meaning, like, yeah, he's not fun, and it's like, dude,
that's the goal.
Yeah, and you know up front that's people. Someone did it to me like a month ago. like, who wrote that blind white supremacist? Like, after one of my shows, I'm like, why are you asking me that, man?
Yeah.
But because they want to shit on somebody. And then how do you manage the ongoing? You guys still have a production company and stuff, right?
Producing films with 5 people is proved to be impossible. I mean, we did it a couple times, but it wasn't fun because
right.
The film business works best in a dictatorship, I think, and where the power is like very clear, and you'd end up in situations where the 5 of us would be sitting around like. Discussing some arcane piece of filmmaking that really, I mean, who gives a fuck? Do we have to go through every goddamn bit? I can make these decisions in 10 seconds, or you could.
Right.
And so we've kind of decided to just make movies where we're going to be in them together and not produce other people's stuff. I'm going to produce other people's stuff. I'm sure those other guys will. But it's just better to sort of say, here's the one voice you have to listen to.
So that brings us to your new project, Dark Under Penis. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, it's about a penis that drinks. That's
gel vomit. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
It drinks
That's
gel.
right. Drinks gel vomit. Right,
Okay.
right.
Are you married, single?
I'm married.
Oh, okay. And how's that?
Why
going?
don't you have a wedding ring on?
Well, luckily, my
You cheat on your wife.
my father-in-law doesn't wear a wedding ring, and neither does my dad.
Is that this is going to be racist.
Well,
Is
my
it-
wife is Irish-American, so if you're going to go with the cultural thing, let's have it.
So why shouldn't you have a
They both are like, they both feel like, they're like, we don't wear jewelry. And
because it's for faggots.
I mean, I didn't say that. I'm just following my elders.
You're Native American.
Would you want to? Do you want to wear one, or do you?
No, I don't. I have a ring. I just you end up playing with it all the time. And by the way, I just don't like rings.
Do she wear a ring?
She does.
And isn't there an imbalance?
Hey, look.
She doesn't care.
She doesn't have to wear a ring.
Right.
I'm not.
You will hit her if
it's not
she
the
does.
fucking
Right.
Taliban over here.
Yeah, but it's up to her whether she wants to or not.
You, I
She
mean,
will.
you got the dowry already, so you're out.
That's right.
Where did you meet her?
At a party I had in New York.
Did you live in New York?
I lived in New York for about 10 years.
When did you move?
2000.
Got it.
Wait, let's get back to before we go through the timeline of your moving. What does she feel about you not wearing a ring?
Well, because her father didn't wear a ring. Interestingly, her father must have worn a ring at one point, because when she used to get punished as a child, he'd say, come over here, and then he'd put his hand on her head and pop it with the ring and hit her. And then at some point he stopped wearing his ring.
That's a great
And
way to
she was
make your
happy
wife
about
not
that.
care if you wear a wedding ring, as if her father abused her with his wedding
Yeah.
ring. He's like, I'm fine with it,
She
actually.
has sort of negative association.
She does.
with thing.
She does.
Were you beaten or smacked as a kid?
I was hit with a fat brush, and occasionally
Fat brush.
occasionally a belt.
Fat brush.
Never. It was never like intensely painful, and
Right.
and I'll tell you, to this day, I feel like I had it coming.
Yeah, you know what?
Interesting. You know what's great about you? You'll take a punishment like a man. You get jizzed, you get squeezed, you get gelled down.
I had it coming.
Take
I really did. I mean, I was at times a very horrible child. And
What did you get? When you say you had it coming, what are the things you think of?
well, just willful disobedience. I mean, there's no reasons. This is rebel without a cause bullshit, and just arguing and fighting. And I have children now, and they.
Do you hit them?
No, I don't.
Ever?
Well, no, because
Do you put the ring on once in a while?
no. There's a philosophy of parenting now that says you shouldn't hit your kids, so I don't.
How did that win?
I don't think it's that. I don't think there was much of a fight. It's hard to fight for corporal punishment.
I
Yeah,
kind of don't agree.
you're bigger, right? You're bigger than them.
It's really, they're really outmatched. It's violence.
And- yeah.
It's like violence against women, but worse.
It's also a situation where when they're big enough, you'll stop doing it. So it's really a physical intimidation thing. I mean, my mom stopped spanking me when I became her height.
But I think that, okay, if you're making an argument for corporal punishment, that
You're the only one who is.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I think it's not about. I don't think that you stop hitting your kids when they get big enough to hit you back. Although I'm sure some people have. I would say you stop hitting your kids when they get old enough to be able to hear reason and respond to it.
That's old, though.
But I think what's the difference between reason and forced timeout or just like go sit down?
It doesn't work.
Well,
how do you know it doesn't work, though?
It works.
I've been through both. I mean, I look. I could be wrong about all of this. I'm not. I don't think.
I think that you're a special case in terms of like. I bet you were a tough kid, based just on your memoir.
Sure, I was one of the worst. But
the issue is really one where it would be fine if like good people were allowed to hit their children a little bit, right? I understand what you're saying. It's a valuable tool. The problem is there are a lot of people who go way over the line and beat their kids, and then you have to go, well, no one can hit their kids, so let's all stop.
Yeah,
right.
I hear what you're saying, but I feel like
so you think there are times where like you wish you could.
I would love to spank my kids occasionally, right? I mean, occasionally, but I'm not, because I don't want my wife doing it either. You see,
right.
I've seen.
Well, you don't trust her.
One of the bad ones.
You don't trust her.
Nobody wants. You don't want anyone to hit your kids, right? And if it's your wife hitting your kids, if it's one of your other kids hitting your kids, you want to just whack your kid, the kid who hits
Here's
the
some
other
goodness.
kid.
If your wife hit your kids, maybe you could hit your wife.
You could, right? You could do that because we're good people.
Were
Have
you
you thought of
physically
that?
abused?
Yeah.
So this is right. So you're in a situation where you can't see. And this is going to sound like a joke and disparaging, but it's not. You can't
see the value of it.
Possible value in it because it was perverted and horrible.
Yeah, and also I have a dog who I will occasionally, which is pretty similar. Keith, who's here to my right, who like I'll smack his little butt.
Right now.
I'll smack his butt sometimes, and I'll be like, maybe I shouldn't hit him. But dogs do bite each other and nibble and all that stuff. I don't think that it's a valuable tool. Like I think that learning is learning. I think like you can learn without being struck.
I got a great story, but we'll double back to this corporal punishment discussion, which I think is good. I was in Palm Springs with Natasha.
La-di-da.
Thank you. And at a fancy hotel, so this is important information. We were at a very fancy hotel, and we'd been upgraded to like the king suite in the thing for some reason. We had my dog in there, and my dog is like mentally retarded. Like there's something wrong with my dog. He's been something. Maybe he was abused. Every time I take my belt off, my dog cowers. So he must have been
abused by Neal
at some point. Yeah, he used to be Neal's dog. So
send him my love and tell him that I take it all back.
Oh yeah,
Go ahead.
He'll be pleased to know. So he's like a wild dog. Like there's something wrong with him. Also, I am Jewish, so I had snuck the dog into this like presidential suite because there was $100 charge to have the dog there. So I'd like put him in like a backpack.
What do you think's Jewier, the sneakiness or the trying to avoid the money part?
I mean, it's all connected, isn't
Yeah.
it? And also, I had just yelled at Natasha for opening up a $9 bag of pistachios from the wet bar. I said, "You don't do that."
That I agree with. That's
Yeah,
universal
man.
to me.
Yeah. Okay. So we're outside,
But I'm gonna deduct some Jew points. Go ahead.
Okay. So we walk outside. Natasha's got my dog. So we've taken the dog to a trainer, and the dog is.
What would you do to get the dog out? Would you throw him out the window like, Natasha, you go downstairs. I'm going to throw the dog down.
Well, we once we had him in, we figured the help would not notice because since they do allow dogs for $100 fee, the only person we're really worried about at this point is the hotel management, right?
But they upgraded you. I mean, they probably have that VHS thing of the Moshe.
They must have. They must have. Or they have a DVD of Chappelle's show, and then that led them to the Champs, the big Champs fans.
Got it.
I asked him, actually. I called up. I was like, why did you upgrade us? And she's like, did you want us to check if it was a mistake? And I was like, no, you can transfer me.
That's a risky call considering your dog could have barked at that moment.
But that's a classic narcissist that needs to know what about you.
Absolutely.
What about me do you like best?
Right. Because, the thing was...
The good thing you just did for me, what part of myself should I credit?
The thing was, we had gotten a hotel room on Hotel Tonight, which is, do you guys know about that?
No.
It's a pretty cool app.
Yeah, I have the app, and I'm thinking about dumping it.
Well, don't be crazy.
I'm thinking about it. It's on the chopping block.
Well, it's an app where you go to a city. Let's say you go to when you're on tour, you don't know where you're going to stay. Let's say you have to pay out of your own pocket. So Dallas, I was just in Dallas actually, and they do a list every day of hotels that you can stay at that night that want to get rid of their empty rooms, so they give you a discounted room at nice hotels, right? So usually you get the shittiest hotel in the shittiest room in the hotel because they're super discounted. But for some reason, they put us in the presidential suite that night because probably they didn't have room.
So you went to Palm Springs.
What'd you pay?
It was not cheap. It was $230, but
That's not bad. For
You
like
went to
a
Palm
nice
Springs
place.
with your girlfriend and just said, "We'll just figure out the hotel when we get there."
yeah, kind of
Wow.
a thing.
This
We
is
could do that with Hotel Tonight.
that's a little slice of the romance you get when you date Moshe Kasher.
Dude, I put her in the fucking presidential suite.
Fucking go ahead.
Listen, fucking. It's like fucking. So I'm there. I'm like fucking. No, look. She likes fancy hotels. Natasha does.
Yeah.
I don't really care. So we would go there and we would like. If they put a fancy hotel up, we'd get that. A $230 was not the most expensive hotel. It was not the cheapest hotel. We
Right.
could have gotten Motel 6. Okay, so we're out front. We've got the dog. I've taken the dog to a trainer, and he's instructed us try to train the dog. Use a little correction collar. Little. We have a soft choke collar. So we walk out, and this woman walks by, and the dog's like, blah, 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 and Natasha corrects him a little bit, and she goes, "It's a very cute dog." The lady that walks by, and Natasha goes, "Oh, thank you." Or she says, "It's very cute." And Natasha makes a joke like she's talking to her and goes, "Thank you." And she goes, "You don't have to say thank you. You just have to stop yanking on your dog's collar." Right? Like that. And I have this ability to see red very quickly when people perceive disrespect
I don't know if that's an ability.
or inability to not react. How about that?
Yeah.
He has a gift. I don't say it as an ability. It's more of a gift. Yeah.
So I go, mind your own fucking business. Walk away.
Good
Shoo.
comeback.
I say shoo. I start saying shoo. And
Mind your own fucking business, period. Walk away, period. Shoe.
shoo. And then
period.
starts saying shoo. I'm giving her the shoe hand. And her boyfriend, who is like, 20 paces away, loses his mind.
So he has that same ability.
He, in fact, might have it to a greater degree than me. He might be
It's a real ability. This is a great hotel.
ballistic.
This is like a fucking Comic-Con for the ability. Go ahead.
right.
For guys with the ability.
Code Red ballistic runs over, starts screaming, "Shoo! Shoo! You like it? You started it. I'll finish it. Shoo!" And he's in my face, and I'm like, I'm about to I can't stop. It was like a very weird situation where I start screaming back at him. The hotel staff starts coming out. Natasha's like, let's go. I'm like yanking away from Natasha. Like, get off of me.
Did you feel like you could take him in a fight?
I could have beat this
Okay,
guy's ass,
good.
I think, but how do I know?
Well,
I have no idea.
You make a quick calculation.
That's what's happening is in my mind I have two different brains functioning. My kind of primate brain is my logic brain is going, what are you going to do here? You're going to knock this guy out or he's going to knock you out, or the police are going to come and you're going to both go to jail. What are you doing? Walk away. But then every time that brain would almost take over, he would go, shoo, shoo, and my primate brain would be like, this man is in your face.
Well, and he's also mocking your writing.
That's true, man, and I'm a professional.
Yeah, you're a professional.
I think I
Shoe
might-
isn't bad dialogue, but and for him to shit on it like that, I feel like he had a
Thank you, Neal.
yeah.
I might have said something like, "You don't know me. You don't know where I'm from," or something. That might have fallen out of my
Did
mouth.
you did you mention Oakland?
I didn't. It was real close. It was like about to come out.
Yeah.
By the way, look.
Did
at
you
me.
say
I'm like,
fool at any point?
dude? I go. I think I said you want to do this, but then I didn't want to do it. You
So
know?
great.
And by the way, I look like I'm in front of this fancy hotel. I look like a little fop with glasses on. Like I don't know why I'm talking like this. The hotel staff all starts coming out. People say they're calling the police,
And they're like, and they're whispering like, they got it from Hotel Tonight. This is the
They're
problem
both
with
from Hotel.
this is the problem with letting in riffraff. Go
the
ahead.
secret dog is barking, at this point. And then the woman starts going, she starts just furthering her argument about the dog. She's like, positive reinforcement. It's just about positive reinforcement.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I start saying, you're going to tell me about disciplining my dog when you can't discipline your little dog here? And I'm pointing at the guy like,
boy.
how are you going to tell me discipline? And then the guy, shoo, 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 positive reinforcement, dog, shoo. And it just, finally, Natasha grabbed me, threw me in the car, and we drove off. And she was furious. She was not thrilled. And then I went and saw Star Trek. And I calmed down.
How long did it take her to forgive you?
The whole night.
And
Yeah, she was mad. She
So
was genuine.
Is Natasha the kind of person that will repeat the misdeed and go like, so then you thought it was cool to what kind of fighter is she?
She's pretty awesome. But what happened was, once in a while, I will show her my ability,
Uh-huh.
and we call it like Old Moshe. You know, old Moshe.
I call it junkie Moshe.
Junkie Moshe will come out. The first couple times she saw old Moshe, she was kind of like into it because it was much smaller stakes. You know, it was just like some cab driver started yelling at us, and I was like, "Don't you fucking speak to us like that," something like that.
Right,
I like that. And then it became like we're
easy from the back seat. By the way.
Oh, by the way, I didn't mention the best part was we're all waiting for valet for the car to come, and when the valet pulls up, I'm screaming. We've been on a camping trip for like 4 days. Palm Springs was the end of the trip, so there was like dirty laundry and like bags that were spilling out and stuff. And the valet pulls up.
By the way, this hotel has taken their services away from Hotel Tonight.
That's what I'm saying.
They're done.
That's what Natasha was the most upset about, was that at the moment that I'm screaming, we seem like such white trash. The car pulls up, and it's just like a fucking disaster area.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, let's go. Hotel Tonight, presidential suite, shoo. And we just drive off.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before, baby.
We got the presidential suite, baby. It's crazy.
Hey, wait, that's your argument for hitting children.
No, that is the reason that story came up was it was about people getting involved in other people's disciplining of their dogs or of their children, putting their...
I've had the thought recently, because, you know, when people's like, I feel like maybe Louis it's like a sort of an old saying, which is like, you can't judge a person for how they raise their kids until you've had a kid yourself. And it's like, no, I don't need to have a kid to know how to not treat another fucking human being.
However, on the other hand, it's like this lady coming in going, don't yank on your dog's collar. It's like, you haven't
that's
spent
silly,
any time
yeah.
with my dog.
Yeah.
My dog is... She's like, he doesn't need that. You don't know this
Yeah.
dog. His dog's fucking insane.
Yeah, that's silly. She should have hit her.
He whipped his... She probably does get hit. That guy was a
You think so?
absolute maniac.
Well, that's a weird thing when a guy overreacts to a guy talking to his girl. That's like some weird psychology.
Right.
Like,
Some primate shit. Some primate shit.
Maybe shit was a safe word.
Here's the thing. The guy had 2 bags of bottled water. His hands were down the whole time. One headbutt, he would have been down.
So you've thought this through a lot.
I thought it. I had my back brain and my front brain operating
Right.
at once. But anyway, corporal punishment.
I don't see it as helpful.
I'm against it.
I just think, like, you see these people on, like, airplanes and shit. Their children are fucking tyrants because they've been taught from day one that they are the fucking little prince and we will do whatever you want. And they know it. They abuse their parents, and their parents are going, honey, Toby.
No,
Toby knows.
You're correct that you will want to hit your children. It's simply a matter of, like, how could it help?
Well, it will make Toby stop in the moment.
It will. It will make
reset
them
Toby.
cry.
Yes.
Right. I feel like you can do that with tone, though.
You can do it with sugar.
You can do an abusive tone.
Positive.
Believe me.
You're this fucking positive.
No, I'm not
person.
positive. I say you're not getting a dessert, and they lose it, and they stop their behavior.
You're saying your children are incredibly well behaved.
No.
Because
They're controlled by sugar, though.
My mom used to hit me. She used to hit me with a big fat belt, and it was abusive, perhaps. And I felt more traumatized by my father, who never really hit me. He did punch me once, but he never hit me.
Yeah.
And I deserved the fuck out of that punch. He socked me in the chest one time.
For what?
I was just being a fucking asshole.
During the drug period?
It was like right before.
So you deserved it.
That one I deserved. But he never hit me. I was way more afraid of him because he would give these fucking murder looks. You know what
that's what I think you can do as a guy.
Why is that better? I'd rather be spanked than like afraid.
Because
you're going to get that too.
Because the kid can't. I'm going to go with an abusive tone, guys. That's going to be my secret weapon. Is a real ugly abusive tone that will let them know that they are garbage.
That would be a funny thing, like to put a book out for, is like how to abuse your children without
leaving a paper trail. I don't think that it just because I'm thinking about all this stuff because I'm just thinking about the way and my dad used to beat the shit out of my brothers and sisters.
That's
and it's
undeniably
not helpful.
Yeah, but your dad abused you physically. I'm saying the point I'm making is there's a difference between spanking your kids and abusing them.
Right, but that's the problem is that his dad, if his dad thought no one's spanking, he might have.
You really think
a
physical abuser would go, Dr. Spock said.
Well, yeah, because the child services will come visit you.
Not for spanking your children.
I don't even know what the law is.
I don't either.
I don't know.
Is it illegal to hit your kids? It's not.
I think it is.
I think it became illegal.
I don't think that's true. Somebody crowdsource this back. We need to know.
No, I don't think you can hit your kids, man.
You can spank your children, definitely.
I guess it's like
gotta
there's
look
got to
this
be
up.
some kind of law. I don't know if it's an open fist situation.
It's the rule of thumb. You can only beat your children with a stick more slender than your thumb, which gives.
Is that what the rule of thumb, the
advantage.
phrase is from?
It's from beating your wife. You could only beat your wife with a stick that was smaller than your thumb.
Well, but the other thing is, like, I grew up in Catholicism, which has, like, it's all about corporal punishment, like, in its essence. It's like, and also there was, like, the phrase, like, spare the rod, spoil the child, and all that shit, just, like, that was baked into my parents' sort of ethos.
I'm not saying spanking is good, but I am saying that not spanking seems to have created a generation of tyrant children that are awful. They're awful children.
I think that may just be our age and our experience with. I think we're also unbelievably. Our generation is also unbelievably like there was noise and all that shit. Because I remember being on a flight in 1983, and there were a bunch of kids on there that were fucking horrible.
That is a funny memory.
Yeah.
I remember a flight in 1983.
No, but again, it's like this isn't a new thing. The idea of kids being shitty isn't new.
I think that children are, Jay, agree or disagree, children are more entitled now than they've ever been before. Especially rich children.
Again, but we have no context. We don't have any context. So it's not like we're all super old and we've seen generation after generation.
Well, they're entitled in the sense that they know they're not going to get beaten, so they can risk more dangerous behavior, I suppose. I mean, look, the issue with, I mean, whatever. Look, children now are just addicted to screens like iPads and that's to me the problem with them.
Do you try to limit your kids' screen time?
You try, but they're on.
How old are your kids?
8 and 7.
Okay.
And
they're still small enough.
Yeah, but they're addicted. They're junkies. They're like you take an iPad out and they see your phone and they grab. I mean, they're literally not the same kind of junkie you were, but you know they were you know that's the thing that you. I mean, and this lack of human contact is a real. I mean, we'll see what happens with this group. But
how are they socialized yet? Are they in school?
They're super social kids. But I mean, I think a lot of kids who are left alone more are probably. Just too deep in this computer shit.
Did you have video games growing up?
Oh, we played all night long.
And you, Neal?
No,
I was not allowed video games.
We would have a sleepover.
I don't think if I had kids, I would give them video games. I think I would limit the amount of computer they could do.
Yeah, you would think.
I know, and that's what you hear,
think.
and then you end up going like, you can do that or put a video on and leave you alone.
But it's also all their friends are playing these games, and you're going to be like, no, you can't be part of culture to them.
Yeah, I don't think that's the worst possible thing. I think long term, they're better off doing other shit. Again, this is
probably right.
Theoretical.
You're probably right, but it's
and easy for me to say because I had my Jewish side years back.
You do have the option of turning your children off or not. You can have them constantly taking every ounce of your energy, or you can put on Blues Clues.
And good luck writing a joke with all these fuckers running around.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't have them.
Well, I want to have
America
children
needs.
in order to have some more material. I'm trying to
move into more of a family kind of comedy thing.
I'm just running the well's a little dry, and so I figure a real good.
I've had people say that to me before.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Comedians say like, I feel like I could use some more kids. It's like that's really not the reason to.
But why? You're like, you are definitely a sociopath. You're a broken person.
We didn't talk about are you Indian or Pakistani?
Indian.
And how has
Hindu?
My parents were independents. Like they don't like organized religion. They were technically Hindus.
But you weren't raised religious at all.
No.
And what's your stance on God?
I suppose I'm reluctant to declare myself an atheist, but you'd have to say I was.
Interesting. So you're like
why are you reluctant?
In the off chance that these guys are right, like why bother? Why bother?
Why bother?
Yeah, why?
But do I believe in like something supernatural? I've never seen it. I don't see why I would believe it.
I've also recently I've started thinking of it as like mystery, and hopefully mystery will come and help me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
maybe.
The guy from the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but like just like the idea of like there's shit I don't understand. I think it's mostly coincidence, and I also think that people can be psychologically linked. Or mentally linked.
I thought you were an ardent atheist.
I am, but I've been thinking about the idea of the feeling that I get from meditation or something.
Right.
It's like, or kismet or fucking anything like that.
You love meditation. You're an Indian. Like, what?
Well, whenever I go into a yoga class, which is like once literally every 2 years, they're like, look, I'm sorry, we're going to be going a little more slowly than you're used to. Total racists.
Yeah.
That's
total
fine.
fucking racist.
Thank you very much. I'll make do. I'll do that.
When I was in college, in high school, I took an AP calculus class, right? And if you get a 4 on the test, you pass out of it. But I got a 3, so I had to retake it in order to go to med school, which I didn't go to. But so I'm going to this calculus class in college freshman
Pretty
year.
Indian so far. Go ahead.
I'm going to say that med school is the yoga of
That's right.
Modern.
That's right. So
yeah.
I go in this class and I'm like, I know this fucking shit. I just took this class. So I show up once every 2 weeks to take the quiz, which I would ace, right?
Right.
And then I'd sit in the class and and he'd go, does anybody know this? And Jay, do you know? And I'm like, yeah, it's X, Y, whatever.
Yeah.
And this continued on, and I kept acing every test. And then at the end of class one day, he goes, Jay, I just, I'm going to a math conference in New York City, and I want to bring you to sort of introduce you to the math community because you have a gift, right? And I was like, yeah, math is more of a hobby for me, but again, racist,
Why?
Assuming that Indians are fucking math geniuses here.
But you were the one that was like, I only went to
took
class
the
once.
class already.
He'd already taken the class.
I took the class.
That's why he was so good at it.
Yeah.
It wasn't natural the first time.
No.
I don't see the racism in that story.
Do you get... I totally do.
Wait, why? Did the guy know you'd taken the class already?
No. I wouldn't tell him that.
Acing all of the answers.
Technically, that wasn't that racist. The yoga thing is very racist.
The yoga thing.
Look, it's all good racism.
Right.
Yeah, no, it is all positive.
Right.
Do you get negative racism in terms of offers for work? I guess there's has anyone offered you like a Bollywood movie or anything?
Well, no one's ever offered me a Bollywood movie, but I would love to do one.
Would you really?
I mean, I don't really know what their situation is over there. I mean, it seems like there's a new movement in India where they're making like more.
Hit that dog, Neil. Hit your dog. Make him be quiet.
Non-singing and dancing movies now. And there's like a lot of the young people there are actually watching Super Troopers and the Chappelle Show, and occasionally a couple of your stuff.
That was
very generous of you. Neil, just give me this.
Their sense of humor, though, is becoming very Western. And I saw a film called Delhi Belly, which looks like it could have been made by somebody from here. It's like they're saying fuck and they're smoking grass, and it's
smoking grass.
Yeah. So it's like
reefers.
Reefers, and there's sexual activity.
Oh, they're necking.
Yeah,
are they necking? How about some heavy petting?
So I would like to make a film over there, but no, I don't get offered.
It sounds like a pretty groovy film.
Yeah. I don't get offered. I mean, not really. I think people think of me as a director.
Right.
I don't know.
But that's what I mean.
Aziz gets those offers.
But I'm not saying as an actor. I'm just saying as a director, do you get I tend to get black.
Oh, you do. Yeah.
Hey.
I wonder if you don't get especially Indian.
I end up directing a lot of television, and often I'm the one doing the Indian episode.
Interesting.
But I know Indian stuff, so
right. Well, I guess that's the rub. It's and I happen to know black stuff.
I mean, you do.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think racism for Indians was really not a huge deal until those fucking Twin Towers, and then we ended up getting sucked into the fucking backdraft on that. I mean, it's like we happen to look like the Pakistanis right next door because it was one country.
I do love it though when you have people that are really not the racists that are targeted for real negative racism, decrying the racism in America. It's like calm it down a little bit.
The admission that Indians haven't had it so bad.
Like a Korean American, I would just constant these It's like I think you're good. I think you're okay.
Yeah, I mean nobody has as bad as Muslims
no, they don't. And luckily for me, I made Super Troopers and Beerfest, and the group that is most racist, which is sort of young, thuggy guys, are also my biggest fans.
Right.
And so I was in Boston, actually. This is a couple of years ago.
That is the group that's most racist, right, Bob?
Well, I was going to a benefit for the public library, so I'm wearing a fucking tuxedo, right? and these fucking 3 Boston toughs are like, "Yo, Muhammad, yo, fuck you," right? And
that is your name.
Yeah, that's right. That happened to be my name. So now, I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna get beat up by 3 fucking Boston dudes
in a tuxedo.
In a tuxedo, which is gonna make it so much worse. And they're like, Islam sucks. Oh. And I tell you,
You agree?
I don't know a great deal about Islam, but I'm not loving what I've been seeing lately with the women and some of the more bombing activities. But look, I know
more bombing activities.
Some of the bombing.
It's supposed to be a religion of peace, and I'm not seeing it as much. Anyway, the point is,
I always say Islam is not the enemy, but they do a really good impression of the enemy.
That's right. And so here I am. I'm supposed to defend Islam at this moment, right? So I'm like, they're like, Islam sucks, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. And I keep walking, and they're like, and they obviously didn't want that answer, so they come running up, and they're like, "Fuck you, Muhammad, fuck you."
Whoa.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna fucking go, I guess. And then one of them looks at me, and goes, "Super Troopers?"
Shut the fuck up.
I swear to God. And he goes, "Shit, we're big fans. Holy fuck, dude. What are you doing in Boston?" And I'm like, about to get my ass kicked. And they're like, "Can we take a picture with you?" I swear to fucking God.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I took a picture.
I want to see that picture
of these
so
fucking
bad.
guys. Yeah.
You got a big stain
And then they're
on
like,
your tuxedo.
make a sequel.
Yeah.
It literally, the whole fucking gamut of fandom ran through them.
And then what? Did you say like, "Hey, don't treat people like that"?
No, I just got the fuck out of there.
Amazing.
And I went
You didn't
and
say shoe?
shoo.
All right, we got to go. It's fantastic.
All right, cool.
Jay
That was
Chandrasekhar, good man, funny man.
Thank you.
Interesting man.
Go see him on the road or go to his website to find those dates.
j-chandrasekhar.com.
You'll be okay with that, right? Just look up J Super Troopers. It'll probably link you to his website if you can't spell or you're tough from Boston who's saying, "Yo, Muhammad, you've been fucking with the champ."
Now you're fucking with the champs. Now you're fucking with the champs. Now you're fucking with the champs.